The Galactic Council Hall was a place where even strong warriors spoke in low voices. It floated above the shining clouds of Veralyn Prime, a world famous for peace, law, and calm minds. But on this day, calm did not exist. Fear walked between every chair, every podium, every glowing screen. Something cold pressed against the hearts of all present. Representatives from more than 60 alien species sat around the circular chamber. Tall, short, scaled, furred, or made of living light, every kind was here. They had gathered for a single reason, and that reason hung in the air like a storm about to break. A message had been received, a message the galaxy never expected to hear again. Counselor Circana of the Zephyrins rose from her seat. Her silver eyes looked at the main display floating above the chamber. Her voice trembled as she spoke. 300 years, she said. 300 years of silence, 300 years without a single signal, ship, or transmission. And now they have returned. Everyone knew who she meant. No one wanted to say the name, speaking it felt dangerous. Finally, Counselor Marvek, a massive, four-armed Scalorian general, grunted, "Say the name, say it so we understand what danger has come." Sir Kana took a slow breath. "Humans," she whispered. A wave of gasps and nervous chatter broke across the hall. Humans, the species that once begged for help. The species the galaxy once saved from extinction. The species that disappeared after promising they would repay their debt. Most aliens had forgotten them. Some believed they had died out. Some believed they had become nomads. A few believed they had grown bitter and angry. But no one believed they would return like this. The hall lights dimmed. The message replayed on the main screen. A blue hologram formed, a spinning star map from the outer rim. Then a cold robotic voice echoed. "Unknown fleet detected. Human origin probable. Scale planetary. Power level unreadable. Unreadable power level." That phrase alone made warriors shake. The hologram zoomed out. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dark shapes appeared. A massive fleet organized in perfect formation, moving together like a single living creature. No lights, no communication, just silent advance. For a long time no one spoke. Finally an old historian stood. His long robes dragged on the ground as he moved. He was from the Limery species, known for memory and ancient knowledge. "Many of you do not remember humans as they truly were," he began softly. "Allow me to explain why this sight is terrifying." The hall fell silent again. Even the glowing walls seemed to lean forward to listen. The historian continued. "In the old era, humans came into the galaxy with curiosity and hope. They were young, weak, and vulnerable. Their home world suffered from wars, disasters, and disease. When they reached the stars, they were not conquerors, they were survivors. They had no strong fleet, no advanced weapons, no great colonies. They asked for our help and we gave it." Many council members nodded. They remembered the stories. "Humans promised something unusual," the historian said. "They promised that one day, when they were strong, they would repay every kindness shown to them." Marvek growled, "But they never did. They vanished." "Yes," the historian replied. "They vanished because they believed repayment required strength. They hid, they studied, they built, and now they return," he pointed to the fleet hologram. "With power we cannot measure." This time the silence was heavier. It sat on the council's shoulders like a mountain. Then the alarms began to ring. Red lights flashed. The chamber doors sealed. A holographic AI appeared above the council table. "Warning. Incoming transmission from unknown fleet. Origin human." Every heart dropped. The AI projected the message, a single short sentence. "We are here to settle our debt." Counselor Circana swallowed hard. Settle how? With friendship or with fire? "Humans were emotional creatures," said Commander Jorath, a reptilian officer with bright yellow eyes. "They loved deeply and hated strongly. What if they believe we owe them now? What if they think we failed them long ago?" Marvek slammed one of his fists on the table. "We saved them. Without us, humans would have died." Jorath stared at the hologram. Maybe that is why they grew so powerful. Survivors learn faster than conquerors. A wave of fear crept across the room. Some representatives whispered about evacuating their home systems. Others suggested sending diplomats. Others wanted to activate the defense grid, but no one knew what humans wanted. Their message was calm, simple, and frightening for that very reason. Counselor Sir Connor raised her voice again. "We cannot panic. We must understand their intentions. Let our scout fleet approach and open communication." General Marvek shook his head. "Our scout fleet will be dust if they think we stand against them." "But we must try," Sir Connor insisted. "If humans plan to harm the galaxy, negotiation is our only hope." A vote was taken. Most agreed the scouts would make first contact. Within minutes, dozens of alien scout ships launched from Veralyn Prime. Small, fast, and stealth-equipped, they jumped to the coordinates of the incoming human fleet. Everyone waited. Every minute felt like an hour. Finally, the scout commander appeared on the council display, his face pale, his breathing fast. "Council," he whispered, "we have reached the human fleet." "Report," Marvek ordered. "How many ships?" "Thousands," the commander said quietly. "Maybe more. They fill the entire sector. These ships, they are nothing like the past. Their hulls are black like shadows. Their engines burn red, but not like flames, more like energy we do not understand." "Are they sending a message?" Sir Connor asked. "No, they are silent, too silent." The commander leaned closer to his camera. "Council, they fly with perfect formation. No drift, no delay, no fear. Every ship moves like part of one giant organism." "And their weapons?" Marvek asked. The commander hesitated. "We cannot scan them. Our sensors fail when we try. The fleet is surrounded by a field, something we have never seen." His voice shook. "Council, this is not a fleet built for travel. This is a fleet built for war." A cold wave spread through the chamber. "What about humans on board?" Jorath asked. "Did you see them?" "No," the commander said. "We do not see inside. The windows are dark. The ships give no heat signatures. It feels like ghosts flying metal shells." "Ghost," someone whispered. "No," the commander said softly. "Something worse." Another alarm triggered. The scout commander turned sharply. "A message," he shouted. "They are sending a message." The entire council leaned forward. The commander played it. It was a human voice, calm, emotionless, like a judge passing final judgment. "Galactic Council, prepare for repayment. Escort will arrive in 12 hours." The message ended. The scout commander stared at the council, eyes wide with fear. "What does it mean?" Sir Connor asked. No one answered. Some thought repayment meant kindness. Some thought repayment meant destruction. Some thought humans had come to conquer the stars they once admired. But everyone knew one thing: humanity was no longer weak. The scout commander spoke one last time before the signal cut off. "Council, I do not think they came for war. I do not think they came for peace either. I think they came because something forced them to." "What do you mean?" Jorath demanded. The commander's voice dropped to a whisper. "There is something else out there, something behind them, something they are running from, or something they are trying to stop." The connection cut. The council chamber froze. The idea was terrifying. If the human fleet was this large, if their power was unreadable, if they had evolved into something the galaxy could not understand, then what kind of enemy could force them to move? Sir Connor turned toward the frightened council members. "If humanity is coming to repay their debt, then we must learn what that debt truly is." The lights flickered. The hologram of the human fleet slowly rotated, glowing red like a beating heart. The galaxy had called humans weak. The galaxy had forgotten them. The galaxy had ignored their promise. Now humans were answering the call, and the first step of their return was not peace. It was a message dripping with mystery and danger: prepare for repayment. The council did not know it yet, but this message was the beginning of a storm that would shake every world, every fleet, and every species, because humanity had come back, and the galaxy was not ready. The scout commander's final words echoed inside the Galactic Council Hall long after the signal died. Something else is out there, something behind them. It was a sentence that pulled the air from every lung in the chamber. Even species that did not breathe felt a chill in their systems. If humans had grown powerful enough to terrify an entire council, then what kind of nightmare could chase them? No one dared to imagine. The hall lights flickered as the council members argued, shouted, whispered, and panicked all at once. The massive hologram of the human fleet hovered above them, silent, red-lit, and foreboding. Counselor Sir Connor raised her hands, her silver eyes glowing. "Order, maintain order." Her voice cracked as she repeated the command, but slowly the room fell quiet. The chaos settled into a heavy stillness. "We need answers," Sir Connor said. "We need to understand why humans are returning with such overwhelming force. And we must decide what action to take before their escort arrives." "Action," General Marvek barked. "There is no action to take. Their fleet could crush us before we blink. If they want war, then war has already begun." Sir Connor shook her head. "We must not assume the worst." Marvek leaned forward, all four hands gripping the table. "We are not assuming, Counselor. We are observing. That fleet is not peaceful. That fleet is a blade. And yet it is sheathed," the historian whispered. "For now." The council turned to the old limery historian, who gazed into the floating image of the human ships as if he could read the story written on their hulls. "Humans always acted with meaning," he said. "Even when they were weak, everything they did was driven by something: hope, fear, survival, love. If they return now, they return with a purpose." "And what purpose is that?" asked the insectoid counselor Zekra. "Revenge, justice, correction of an ancient debt, something else." The historian sighed. "I do not know." The chamber filled again with whispers, then the hologram changed. The AI voice announced, "Scout fleet transmission recovered." The hologram expanded, showing a panoramic recording taken from one of the scout ships. It was shaky because the commander's hands trembled, but the footage was clear enough. The alien viewers gasped. The human fleet moved like a school of silent, metallic predators. Every ship was dark-armored, smooth but deadly, no markings except thin red luminous lines running across their hulls like glowing scars. Each vessel ranged from small escorts to titanic warships larger than most planets' orbital docks. But it was not their size that scared the council. It was the unity. No formation drift. No energy waste. No signal interference. Not even the smallest mistake. It was like watching one creature with 10,000 bodies. Then the recording showed something else, something the council had not prepared for. A shape behind the fleet, dark, massive, silent, not a ship, not a planet, not a creature. Something that looked like a crack in space itself. It pulsed once and the stars around it dimmed. Then the image distorted and the recording ended. The council chamber erupted in fear. "What was that?" shouted Jorath, the reptilian commander. "A tear in space," someone guessed. "A weapon," another said. "A creature," whispered Counselor Renali of the Aquari. "Something not born in this galaxy." General Marvek shook his head. "Humans are not fleeing from it, they are protecting us from it." The historian nodded. "Yes, that seems likely. Humans have always been unpredictable, but they were never cowards." Sir Connor stared at the frozen hologram of the crack-like entity. "If this thing is the reason humans have returned," she said slowly, "then our fear of them may be misplaced." "No," Marvek growled. "Fear of them is wise. Fear of this new enemy is also wise. Fear of both may not be enough." The AI interrupted. "Incoming transmission, unknown source, human language detected." The council froze. The message played, at first only static, then a soft, rhythmic pulse. Then a calm voice, human, but distorted, spoke. "You are not in danger. Remain calm. Escort will make peaceful contact." The message should have eased the tension, but instead it deepened the unease. Peaceful contact from a fleet that looked like a nightmare. Before the council could respond, the chamber doors slid open and 3 armored guards stumbled inside. One of them carried a glowing tablet. "Counselors," the guard shouted. "New development on the outer rim." The human escort has already arrived. The tablet projected the live feed. The escort was not a fleet, it was one ship. One enormous ship shaped like a crescent blade with red energy veins pulsing along its surface. It moved with impossible speed and stopped above the council world almost instantly, as if it bent space around itself. Panic erupted. Citizens ran. Ships launched without clearance. Emergency sirens filled the sky. The council watched in silence. The human escort ship hovered above Veralyn Prime like a silent judge. And then it opened. The center of the ship unfolded like a metallic flower, revealing a bright portal-like circle, white, pure, almost gentle. A smaller craft emerged from the portal, sleek, dark, and sharp. It descended toward the council hall. Circana whispered, "They are coming here." General Marvek growled but didn't argue. Even he knew that attacking the vessel would be a suicide attempt. The smaller human craft slowed and hovered outside the hall window. The council could see a silhouette inside, a single humanoid figure. The craft released a soft pulse of blue light. A doorway formed in midair. The figure stepped out. The council members backed away. Guards raised their weapons, hands trembling, claws shaking, tentacles coiled tight. The human stepped forward. He looked normal, not a monster, not a cyborg, not an armored titan, just a human male. Simple uniform, calm eyes, steady steps. He stopped at the center of the chamber. "Galactic Council," he said, "no emotion, no fear, no threat. I am Envoy Elias Gray, representative of humanity." Circana stepped forward, forcing herself to stay calm. "Humanity has returned," she said. Envoy Gray nodded once. "We promised repayment," he said softly. "We honor our promises." General Marvek stepped forward too. "What repayment? Why return with such power? Why now?" Envoy Gray looked around the room. His eyes were old, older than they should be, as if he had seen centuries of war. He opened a small holographic device. The crack-like entity from the scout recording appeared, but now in full detail. It was larger, far larger, and it pulsed like something alive. "This," Envoy Gray said quietly, "is why we have returned." The council leaned in. "It is called the Eater," he continued, "a force from outside this galaxy, a predator of stars. It devours systems and leaves nothing behind. We encountered it during our years of isolation." Circana's voice trembled. "You fought it," Gray nodded, "for centuries alone." The room felt colder. Marvek swallowed. "Why did it not follow you before? It was sleeping," Gray said. "Now it is awake and it is coming." The council shivered. Circana asked the question no one dared to ask. "Will your fleet fight it?" Gray's answer was simple. "Yes." A pause. "And if we refuse your help?" asked Jorath. Gray looked directly at him. "Then you will not survive." The historian bowed his head. "You return to save us." "No," Gray corrected. "We return to repay the debt you gave our ancestors. You saved humanity once. Now humanity will save you." The council stared in shock. Humans had not come to conquer. They had not come to avenge. They had come to protect. But Gray wasn't finished. "However," he added coldly, "if any species interferes, betrays us, or attempts to hinder the defense effort." He stopped. His eyes glowed slightly with something unnatural. "Our debt will be considered paid in full." The meaning was clear. Humans would protect the galaxy from the coming darkness, but they would not tolerate enemies behind their backs. The portal behind Gray flickered. A deep vibration shook the hall. Gray turned toward it. "It has begun," he said. "What has begun?" Circana whispered. Gray looked back at her. "The first wave." The moment Envoy Elias Gray said the first wave has begun, the entire Galactic Council Hall fell into a heavy silence, the kind that freezes every thought and steals every breath. Outside, the sky above Veralyn Prime shimmered unnaturally, as if the atmosphere itself sensed danger approaching. Gray's calm expression never changed. He lifted a small metallic device from his wrist and tapped it once. Instantly, the council chamber's walls turned transparent, revealing the world outside. And then the sky split open. A long, jagged crack of black light stretched across the upper atmosphere like claws tearing the heavens apart. Space twisted behind it. Stars flickered, warped, and disappeared within the crack's glow. It looked almost alive. Gasps filled the chamber. Some council members fell back in terror. What is that?" Circana whispered. Gray answered without emotion. "An eater scout, a small one. The thing spanning half the horizon was a small one. Before anyone could reply, the crack widened and something emerged. A dark, insect-like creature the size of a fortress crawled out, its legs bending in impossible angles. Its skin shimmered like shifting oil. Hollow sockets sat where eyes should be, but something darker moved inside them, as if souls were trapped behind the surface. The creature opened its mouth. There were no teeth, only swirling void. A deep vibration rolled across the air, shaking the buildings, rattling the sky itself. Councillor Marvek shouted, "Activate planetary defenses." Alarms screamed across the capital. Shield barriers glowed to life. Anti-orbital cannons rose from hidden platforms. Civilian ships scrambled to escape the atmosphere. Soldiers ran toward defensive bunkers. Veralyn Prime had never seen war, until now. Gray tapped his device again. "Do not fire," he said calmly. Marvek spun toward him. "Are you out of your mind? That thing will tear this planet apart." Gray shook his head. "Your weapons will irritate it, and irritation will make it feed." "Feed on what?" As if answering the question, the creature's void mouth inhaled and the sky dimmed. Energy drained, lights flickered. A cold wind swept across the city as if something was sucking the warmth from the air. Then the creature leaned forward. It was aiming for the capital. Circana covered her mouth. "It's going to consume the whole city." Gray raised his hand. "Watch." A sudden sharp boom cracked through the clouds. A streak of red light shot across the sky. A human interceptor, sleek, fast, deadly. It slammed into the creature's head with a shockwave that shattered every window in the district. The alien council gasped again. More streaks appeared. 10, 20, 50. Human strike fighters dove toward the atmosphere like a descending storm. Without needing orders, they swirled around the massive creature, their engines burning bright red trails. Each fighter unleashed beams of concentrated light, cutting into the eater's body with surgical precision. Chunks of dark matter fell away from the monster, dissolving before they hit the ground. Marvek's jaws dropped. "These ships, they fly like nothing I've ever seen." Gray nodded. "They are piloted by integrated human AI intelligences, fast enough to dodge physics itself." Outside, the creature roared silently. Space warped around it, pulling gravity into spirals. Several alien ships lost control and spun wildly. But the humans didn't falter. 2 heavy gunships appeared next, black-armored, blocky, each cannon glowing like a miniature sun. They fired continuous beams into the monster's limbs, slicing them off one by one. "You said that was a small eater?" Circana asked, trembling. Gray nodded again. "Yes." The council stared at the sky. If that was small, what was coming next? The eater beast shrieked, a sound that bypassed ears and hit straight into the brain. Some council members collapsed, clutching their heads. Gray glanced back at them. "Stay conscious. You need to see how humanity fights." The creature, wounded and furious, lunged toward a group of human fighters. It moved fast, far faster than something that size should be able to move. Its massive forelegs snapped forward, aiming to crush the ships like insects. But the fighters reacted instantly. They vanished, literally blinked out of existence. A microsecond later, they reappeared behind the creature, unleashing a barrage of red energy spikes straight into its spine. The beast convulsed and twisted. Gray explained, "Short-range quantum skipping, a standard human combat maneuver." Joreth, the reptilian commander, whispered, "Impossible." The battle intensified. Human gunships flew in perfect synchronization. Human fighters danced between space-twisting claws. Human cruisers appeared above the clouds, unleashing plasma storms that looked like miniature suns exploding. And the creature began to burn. Bright red cracks appeared all over its shifting body, as if magma leaked from inside. It screeched again, flailing wildly. Gray raised one hand. "It is time." A shadow moved, the sky darkened further. Then through the clouds, descending slowly like a god from legend, a human dreadnought appeared. It was enormous, bigger than any alien megaship, bigger than anything Veralyn Prime had ever seen. Its hull was layered metal, black as deep space, carved with red channels of living light. Engines hummed with containment fields strong enough to twist the air. The dreadnought hovered directly over the Eater. Every alien in the council felt it, a pressure, a gravity, a presence. Circana whispered, "What is that vessel called?" Gray answered softly, "Judgment." The dreadnought's belly opened, revealing a massive cannon glowing brighter and brighter. The city lights dimmed, the clouds thinned, the sky turned crimson. Even the creature seemed to hesitate. "Evacuate your sensors," Gray warned. "The blast will blind your instruments." Marvek shouted, "Fire, fire now." Gray didn't need the encouragement. With a sound like the world exhaling, the dreadnought unleashed a beam of pure red-white energy. The beam struck the creature directly, and everything stopped. The ground froze, the wind froze, time itself seemed to hold its breath. The creature's body glowed brighter, 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 then exploded. A silent explosion, because sound couldn't describe what happened. A sphere of red light expanded outward, vaporizing the Eater completely. The wave passed over the city, phasing harmlessly through buildings but dissolving lingering void matter. The sky cleared. The crack in space sealed shut, slowly, painfully, then disappeared. Silence filled the chamber. No one moved, no one blinked, no one breathed. Gray lowered his hand. "The first wave is defeated." Circana swallowed. That was a scout, only one creature." "Yes, and you destroyed it in minutes." "Yes." Marvek stared at Gray, fear and respect mixing in his eyes. What are humans now?" Gray turned toward the vast human dreadnought still hovering above the capital. "Stronger than we ever were," Gray said. "Stronger than we should be." He touched his wrist device again. The dreadnought slowly drifted away, rising back into orbit, surrounded by its deadly escort fleet. Circana stepped closer. "Why did you protect us?" Gray met her gaze. "Because your ancestors protected us. Humanity never forgets what it owes." "But," she hesitated, "why bring such a massive fleet?" Gray looked up at the sky. "That creature was a scout. The next wave will not be scouts, it will be hunters." The council shivered. "How long until the hunters arrive?" Marvek asked. Gray paused. "Hours." The chamber erupted into panic. Gray raised his voice, firm, powerful, human. "Listen carefully. You need humanity. You will follow our strategy, or you will die." The truth was harsh, but true. Circana steadied herself. "Tell us what to do." Gray nodded. "The defense of the galaxy begins now." Outside, in the orbit above Veralyn Prime, thousands of human ships repositioned like pieces on a glowing chessboard. They were calm, prepared, waiting, because this was only the beginning. The second wave was coming, and humanity intended to meet it head-on. The attack on Veralyn Prime changed everything. The Galactic Council had watched their proud defenses crumble like paper, while humanity's fleet moved with deadly precision and overwhelming power. The small Eater had been destroyed, but the fear it left behind was much larger. Now, a silent countdown ticked in every mind. The hunters are coming. Envoy Elias Gray stood in the center of the council chamber, surrounded by frightened representatives from across the galaxy. The windows still showed the giant human dreadnought, Judgment, hovering protectively above the capital. Thousands of human ships formed a glowing grid in orbit, but even that massive force felt small compared to the danger they expected. Circana spoke first, her voice tight but steady. "How long until the hunters arrive?" Gray looked at a floating hologram. His face remained calm, but his voice carried weight. "Less than 5 hours." Panic rippled through the chamber. Some counselors shouted for evacuation. Others demanded weapons. Others fell to their knees in despair. Gray raised his voice. Silence. The room obeyed immediately. There was something about humans now, something commanding, something powerful that made everyone listen. Gray continued, evacuation will fail. Your ships cannot outrun hunters. Your weapons cannot harm them. You must follow human strategy. General Marvek, still shaken from the earlier battle, nodded slowly. What do you need from us? Gray turned toward him. A united front. The council muttered in confusion. Jorath, the reptilian commander, hissed, "We are united." "No," Gray replied calmly, "you are frightened, you are arguing. Fear and disorder will kill you faster than the hunters." Sir Kana stepped forward. "What is a hunter? How much stronger is it compared to the creature we just saw?" Gray projected a hologram beside him. The creature that emerged was enormous, so large it barely fit in the 3D display. Its body was long, twisted, made of shifting black metal and cosmic dust. 6 jagged wings spread from its back. Its face was a mask of shadow with glowing cracks that pulsed like dying stars. "This," Gray said, "is a hunter-class eater." The council gasped. "It hunts energy," Gray explained. "Stars, planets, fleets, weapon systems. Anything that emits power becomes its target." Marvek's eyes widened. "But your ships use enormous power. Wouldn't they attract it first?" Gray nodded. "They will." Sir Kana frowned. "Then your fleet will die." "No," Gray said. "We want it to come to us." Silence, then confusion, then realization. "You're baiting it?" Jorath asked. "Yes," Gray said. "And when it strikes, we strike harder." Marvek slammed a hand on the table. "Your first strike nearly broke the planet. What will your next one do?" Gray looked him in the eyes. "We do not intend to fire on the planet. Humanity has weapons designed for enemies far greater than this." No one asked what greater meant. They did not want to know. Gray activated a galactic map. A shimmering red barrier formed around Veralyn Prime. "This is our trap. Your role is simple. Do not interfere. Keep civilians sheltered. Follow human instructions exactly." Sir Kana took a deep breath. "Then show us what to do." Gray nodded. "Move all non-essential vessels away from the planet. Clear orbital lanes. Prepare shield overlap on the city's western side. And broadcast this message across the galaxy. Do not approach Veralyn Prime." The council hurried to follow his commands. For the first time in galactic history, dozens of alien governments moved with single-minded coordination, all because humanity told them to. Outside, above the planet, humanity prepared for war. The human dreadnought Judgment moved into a new position, directly above the capital. Smaller cruisers formed triangular grids around it. Swarms of fighters took positions like a cloud of angry sparks waiting for ignition. Human voices echoed across communication channels, calm, sharp, perfectly coordinated. Dreadnought shields cycling complete. Quantum cannons charging. Interceptor wings ready. Hunter-class arrival predicted in 4 hours, 16 minutes. The alien observers watching from their own ships could barely understand the human language, but the tone alone was enough to send chills down their spines. Humanity had returned as warriors. Hours passed. Tension thickened like fog. Cities dimmed their lights. Ships hid behind the planet's shadow. Families prayed to whatever gods they believed in. And the human fleet waited. Gray stood alone on a balcony inside the council hall, staring up at the sky. He didn't look nervous. He didn't look afraid. He looked prepared, as if this moment was something humanity had been building toward for centuries. Sir Kana approached him quietly. "You have fought these creatures before." Gray nodded. "Many times. Did you ever lose?" Gray considered the question. "Yes," he said softly. "We lost worlds, we lost colonies, we lost fleets. Humanity learned by bleeding." Sir Kana swallowed. "And now do you think you can win?" Gray turned toward her. His eyes glowed faintly, whether from technology or power she couldn't tell. "We must win," she nodded. "Then we stand with you." Gray turned back to the sky. "Then pray the hunters are alone." At that exact moment the sky darkened, not with clouds, not with night, with shadows. A ripple passed across the stars, bending them, twisting them, blotting them out. The temperature dropped. Birds fell silent. The air itself became heavy. Every sensor on the planet screamed warnings. Alien ships panicked. Human ships switched to attack formation instantly. Gray's voice echoed across every channel. Hunter-class Eater arrival confirmed. The sky tore open. A massive wound in space split the atmosphere. Red lightning crackled across the tier, and then something emerged. A beast larger than mountains, its body stretching across the horizon. Its 6 wings unfolded with a sound like cracking universes. Its face bent forward, glowing cracks burning like molten stars. It screeched. Every creature on Veralyn Prime felt the sound not as noise but as pure terror. The hunter had arrived. Instantly, human fighters surged upward like a volcanic eruption. Every engine burned red, every weapon glowed. The hunter turned its head toward the human dreadnought Judgment. It sensed power, it sensed energy, it sensed prey. Gray lifted his wrist device. "Engage," he said. The human fleet obeyed at once. Interceptor wings fired first. They streaked around the hunter, their beams slicing into the creature's wings. Each strike caused parts of the monster to crack and fall away. But the hunter was stronger than the scout and faster. It swung one wing through space and reality bent. 10 human fighters vanished, crushed by the distortion. Alien commanders watching screamed in horror, but humans did not panic. Their formation simply tightened. The hunter screeched again, pulling energy from the sky. Lights went out, shields flickered, power drained from entire city blocks. Gray whispered, "It's feeding." The hunter aimed at the planet, and then a blinding flash tore the sky. The dreadnought Judgment opened fire. Its main cannon unleashed a beam so powerful it made the atmosphere ripple and the oceans rise. The blast struck the hunter's chest and burned a hole straight through its body. The creature convulsed. For a moment, it seemed the battle was already won. But then, the hole closed. The wound healed, and the hunter grew bigger. The council gasped. It absorbed the energy, Circana shouted. Gray nodded grimly. "Yes, and that is why humanity invented a weapon it cannot eat." He pressed a button. The dreadnought opened again, but this time the light inside was not red, it was black, like the void, like the creature, like the crack itself. Gray whispered, "Nullfire cannon, human invention. It erases energy. It cannot be eaten." The dreadnought fired. A stream of pure black light shot out, silent and cold. It cut through the hunter's body like a blade through fabric. The hunter screamed, a sound that broke clouds. Its body cracked. Its wings collapsed, its face shattered like glass. The creature fell. Pieces of it evaporated before hitting the ground. Silence fell with it. Gray lowered his hand. "The hunter is dead." But he didn't smile, he didn't relax. Circana noticed. "What's wrong?" Gray spoke slowly. "If the hunters are here, the Devourer itself is close." The council froze. "The Devourer," Marvik whispered. Gray nodded. "Yes, the one that commands the hunters, the one that sleeps between galaxies, the one that destroyed the human colonies." He looked up at the sky, and it is coming. Its huge body broke apart into dust and fading shadow, dissolving into the sky above Veralyn Prime. The air slowly cleared. Light returned. The stars became visible again, but no one in the galaxy felt safe. Envoy Elias Gray stood in the council hall, his eyes on the sky, his jaw tight. He did not speak for a moment. He did not celebrate. He did not say, "We won." Because he knew this was not a victory. This was an announcement. The Devourer had heard them. Circana stepped closer, her voice shaking. "You said the Devourer is coming." Gray nodded once. General Marvik growled, "How much stronger is it than the hunter?" Gray answered without looking away from the sky. "The difference between the hunter and the Devourer," he said softly, "is like the difference between one soldier and an entire war." The council chamber went silent. Jorath asked, "Does your fleet stand any chance?" Gray finally turned to face them. His eyes held a strange calm, the kind of calm that grows only in those who have seen the worst and lived through it. "We built our fleet for this," he said, for the moment when the Devourer wakes. If humanity falls today, we fall doing the job the Galaxy trusted us with long ago. Sirkana swallowed hard. Then we will stand with you. Gray shook his head. You cannot stand with us in battle, he said. Your ships will be erased. Your crews will fuel it. You can only support us from behind. Marvik slammed his fist onto the table. We are not cowards. Gray's eyes sharpened. This is not about courage. This is about scale. Your ships were made to fight other ships. Our ships were made to fight extinction. That shut everyone up. Gray touched his wrist device. Human High Command, he said calmly. This is Envoy Elias Gray, confirmed Devourer status. A human AI voice answered at once. Status, Devourer movement detected at edge of Galactic Halo. Estimated arrival 30 minutes. 30 minutes. The words hit like a hammer. Sirkana whispered. It's already here, Gray nodded. It was always here, sleeping, watching, feeding slowly on the dark space between galaxies. The council members began yelling at once. 30 minutes, what do we do? Can we warp away? Should we hide the planet? Gray raised his voice, suddenly sharp. Silence, they listened. Gray's voice became cold, surgical, like a commander on the bridge of a warship. Here is what happens now, he said. You lock down your worlds. You shut down all high-energy systems. You leave only life support and minimal defense. You do not launch large fleets. You do not fire powerful weapons. Anything strong will call to it. Call to it, Jorath echoed. Gray nodded. The Devourer feels energy across great distances. Power shines like light to it. If you light up the sky, you are calling its hunger. Sirkana said, then why is your fleet still powered? Gray's answer was simple. Because we need it to look at us. High above Veralyn Prime, the human fleet moved into final formation. Dreadnought Judgment at the center. 4 other super-capital ships around it. Thousands of cruisers, carriers, and destroyers forming solid layers of metal and fire. Fighters flew in tight swarms, like angry sparks orbiting a star. Every human ship powered up its systems, pushing energy into shields, cannons, engines, and strange devices the aliens did not recognize. To any observer, the human fleet now looked like the brightest, loudest thing in the sky. They were a beacon, on purpose. Alien ships nearby watched in a mix of fear and awe. They had never seen something like this. Not just the technology, but the will behind it. Humanity was not hiding. Humanity was not running. Humanity was shouting into the void, come at us. In the council hall, the sky turned dark again, but this time it was different. There was no crack, no sudden tear. Instead, the stars simply went out, one by one. Lights in the night vanished as if something enormous was passing in front of them. The darkness grew thicker, heavier, like a giant shadow stretching across the sky. A deep, low vibration rolled through space. Every sensor went red. Every warning screamed. Every instinct in every living being shouted. Something huge is here. The AI voice echoed again. Devourer presence confirmed. Above Veralyn Prime, space bent. Something massive pushed against reality like a mountain trying to force its way through a small doorway. Black tendrils of void curled through the darkness, reaching, tasting, probing. Then it appeared. The Devourer. It was not a ship, not a creature, not a storm. It was all three. A mile-wide central mass of swirling shadow and broken light, surrounded by colossal rings of dark matter that shifted in slow, hungry rotation. Its surface was covered in twisting patterns that looked like mouths, eyes, and wounds all at once. Some parts looked like molten rock. Some parts looked like empty space. Some parts looked like the memory of something that had already died. When it opened its core, light from nearby stars curved inward. It was not just here to fight. It was here to feed. Human High Command transmitted one word. Engage. The human fleet answered with fire. Thousands of guns, cannons, missiles, and energy lances fired at once. The space between the Devourer and the fleet became a tunnel of glowing death. Red, white, and black beams crashed into the Devourer's rotating layers. Explosions like miniature supernovas blossomed across its surface. But no sound came. Space does not carry sound. Still, it felt loud. Alien observers stared, stunned. It looked like humanity was trying to punch a hole in God. For a short moment, it looked like it was working. Pieces of the Devourer's outer shell cracked and flew off. Waves of energy stretched and bent away from it. The light show was beautiful in a terrible way. Then the Devourer responded. It pulsed. A single, deep pulse of energy burst outward like a heartbeat of a black star. The nearest human destroyers simply vanished. No fire, no wreckage, no explosion. 1 second they existed. The next second they didn't. All across the galaxy, commanders watching the battle felt a wave of cold terror. Gray closed his eyes for a moment. He had seen this before. Nullfire shields, he said into his device. Phase arrays now. The human dreadnoughts shifted. Their shields went from normal glowing domes to dark shimmering fields. Light seemed to bend away from them instead of around them. The Devourer pulsed again. This time, the Nullfire shield stayed, but it cost energy, a lot of energy. Human ships pushed more power into the shields. Engines dimmed. Weapon cooldowns increased. Their protection went up, but their offense went down. It was a trade, one they had to make. The Devourer adjusted. Its rings rotated faster, each ring turning in a different direction like grinding gears made of night. From its core, long tendrils of shadow whipped out into space. The tendrils were not solid. They were more like rivers of dark gravity. Wherever they passed, light bent, time lagged, and anything caught in their path was crushed into nothing. The human fleet dodged. Fighters skipped and blinked between micro-jumps. Cruisers cut across space at impossible angles. Dreadnoughts fired counter fields to push the tendrils away. But even with all that, some were caught. A human cruiser was struck by a shadow tendril. Its armor screamed as it twisted in on itself, turning from a warship into a compact sphere of scrap in seconds before dissolving. Alien crews watching cried out. It was like seeing a miracle in reverse. Gray kept his gaze steady. "Bring the Starforge online," he said. The AI answered instantly. Starforge weapon charging. Solar intake at 80%. Above Verallen Prime, one of the human super-capital ships broke formation and rose higher, moving between the Devourer and the nearest star. Panels along its surface opened, and an enormous dish-shaped mechanism unfolded, pointing at the sun. It began to drink. Solar energy streamed toward it, bending slightly in its direction as special gravitic funnels drew more and more light in. To the alien eyes, it looked like the human ship was eating the star. Circana stared at the image. "What are they doing?" Gray spoke quietly. "Stealing light for a weapon the Devourer cannot predict." The Devourer turned part of itself toward the Starforge ship. It felt the energy flow. It wanted it, needed it, hungry. It fired a massive wave of distortion. The space around the Starforge ship melted like wax. Reality bent, shields shattered. The ship trembled, its hull groaning like a wounded animal. For a moment it seemed it would break. But human engineers had built it for exactly this. The ship spat out counter fields, stabilizing its position. Its dish glowed white-hot, then red, then almost blue-white as it compressed the stolen sunlight into a single point. Gray's device chimed. "Starforge weapon at 100% charge." "Fire," Gray said. The Starforge ship obeyed. It unleashed a beam of concentrated starfire. It wasn't a normal energy blast. It was thick, dense, focused light, pure burning matter compressed beyond normal limits. It struck the Devourer's outer layer and bored in, cutting through rings, tendrils, and swirling mass. The Devourer recoiled. For the first time, it reacted like something that felt pain. It flared. Reality around it shattered into shards of bending space as it lashed out wildly. Shadow tendrils whipped in all directions, seeking the source of that pain. They found the Starforge ship. The tendrils hit. The ship's hull cracked, its spine broke, flames erupted. Panels flew off, spinning into nothing. The dish melted, then folded in on itself. The Starforge weapon had fired once. It would never fire again, but it had done its job. It had hurt the Devourer. Human High Command did not pause. Phase 2, the AI announced. Gray lifted his head. Release the Sunder wings. All across the human formation, hangar doors opened. From them launched not normal fighters, but strange, angular crafts, each carrying a large device beneath its hull. Alien observers zoomed in. "What are those?" Surkana whispered. Gray replied, "Spatial rippers. The Sunderwings carry them to weak points in the Devourer's structure." The Sunderwings shot forward, skipping through micro-jumps, dodging tendrils and gravity waves. Some were crushed, some were erased, but most made it. They flew straight into cracks in the Devourer's swirling body. Then they detonated. The devices they carried did not explode in light or sound. They exploded in absence. Little chunks of the Devourer simply vanished, leaving clean holes behind. No debris, no energy, just absence. The Devourer convulsed. Huge chunks of its body began to spiral away, slowly dissolving. Its rings shattered into several pieces, each rotating wildly, no longer in perfect sync. The Devourer turned its full attention on the human fleet now, not as hunger, as anger. It pulled in light from all around. Stars dimmed. Nebulae faded. Even the reflected glow from Veralen's atmosphere began to vanish. "Brace," Gray said. The Devourer fired everything. Waves of distortion, tendrils of crushing gravity, screams of mind-breaking energy. The human fleet shook. Ships died. Destroyers melted. Carriers folded. Small craft vanished in swarms. But the dreadnoughts held. Judgment and the remaining super-capital ships pushed their nullifier shields to the limit, absorbing and erasing as much incoming power as they could. Every second they burned through more reserves, but they did not fall. Humanity had decided something very simple. If they were going to die, they would die in front of the Devourer, between it and everyone else. Gray watched the battle in silence. Surkana stood beside him, her hands shaking. "Can you win?" she whispered. Gray answered without blinking. "We don't know," he said, "but we will make sure that if the Devourer survives this day," he looked at the Devourer, now cracked and bleeding shadow, "it will remember humans." Its body, massive, broken, and yet terrifying, pulsed like a dying star struggling to stay alive. The void tendrils flailed through the darkness, searching for anything to consume. Though wounded, the creature was far from beaten. It had eaten galaxies before. It had destroyed species older than history. And now, for the first time in millions of years, it was hurt. Hurt by humans. On Veralen Prime, the Council watched the sky in horror as the human fleet slowly fell back into tighter formation. Ships burned. Hulls cracked. Thousands of human fighters drifted like glowing embers in the dark. But the dreadnought Judgment still stood at the center. Envoy Elias Gray stared up at the enormous shadow creature dominating the upper atmosphere. His eyes reflected the swirling cracks across the Devourer's shifting skin. Surkana stepped beside him. "Your fleet is breaking." Gray didn't answer. "You cannot survive another attack of that size," she whispered. Gray finally spoke. "We were never meant to survive this fight." Her breath caught. "You mean?" Gray nodded. "The human fleet was designed for one purpose. One moment, one enemy, this enemy." Marvek growled. "You intend to die?" Gray looked at him with calm steel in his eyes. "We intend to finish what we started." He touched his wrist device. "Command, begin final protocol." The AI answered instantly without emotion. "Confirming, protocol Helios, all cores syncing." Every human dreadnought and super-capital ship glowed brighter. Their engines turned into rings of white fire. Their hulls pulsed with moving patterns like living circuits. "What are they doing?" Surkana asked. Gray breathed out slowly. "They're preparing to burn." Above the planet, the Devourer gathered itself. Its rings locked into place. Its core expanded like an opening eye. A halo of impossible gravity formed around it. Alien sensors screamed. "Warning, star consumption attack incoming." The Devourer was about to fire. This was not a weapon. This was not a beam. This was a feeding event. Everything in its path, ships, planets, stars, would be swallowed whole. Human ships braced. Energy surged. Shields strengthened. Cannons glowed. The Devourer fired. A wave of darkness swept through space like ink spilling across a page. Light bent into it. Stars stretched toward it. The beam was wide enough to erase an entire solar system. Circana whispered, shaking, "It will kill us all." Gray raised his hand. "Not if we blind it first." Human High Command spoke again, louder this time. "All ships initiate core ignition." The human fleet responded as one. Every dreadnought, every cruiser, every fighter, every drone, their cores, quantum hearts burning inside each ship, began to overload. Alien captains panicked. What are they doing? Are they fleeing? Are they malfunctioning? Gray answered quietly, "They're turning themselves into stars." And then they did. The entire human fleet erupted in light. Not normal light, not weapon fire, pure, blinding starfire. For a moment the galaxy had two suns, one real, one human-made. The light hit the Devourer's feeding wave. The darkness cracked, space trembled. The Devourer recoiled, its core snapping shut as its rings shattered under the pressure. Yet the humans were not done. The dreadnought Judgment moved forward, engines roaring with fire brighter than daylight. Its shields flared, its plates unfolding like wings of metal. It charged straight toward the Devourer. The Galactic Council watched, horrified and amazed. Marvek whispered, "They are ramming it." Gray shook his head. "No, they're delivering something." "What?" Circana asked. Gray answered, "A sun." Because the dreadnought had become exactly that. Its core was burning hotter than a collapsing star. Its hull cracked, molten light spilling like lava into space. But the ship kept moving, unstoppable. Behind Judgment, the last three human supercapitals followed, forming a spear of white fire. The Devourer screamed, flailing tendrils ripping holes in the sky. But the human ships pushed through the darkness, shielding one another until they reached the center of the beast. Gray closed his eyes. "Goodbye," he whispered. The human spear entered the Devourer's core. Everything went white. A shockwave burst across space. A second sun ignited inside the Devourer. Shadow exploded outward. Rings shattered into nothing. Tendrils evaporated. The Devourer tried to escape, tried to feed, tried to run, but it couldn't outrun a sun inside its own body. The monster came apart, layer by layer, atom by atom. It collapsed into a cloud of dying darkness, then into embers, then into nothing at all. The galaxy was silent. The Devourer, the creature that had eaten stars since before life began, was dead, killed by humans. Silence filled the council hall. No one spoke. No one moved. Finally, Circana whispered, "Your fleet, it's gone." Gray nodded. They knew what they were doing. Marvek croaked, "You sacrificed everything." Gray didn't look proud or sad. He simply looked tired. "The galaxy once saved humanity," he said. "We repaid our debt." The council stared at him. For the first time, every species felt the truth of humanity, not as monsters, not as warriors, but as something more ancient, a species that remembers, a species that returns, a species that protects. Circana stepped toward him, tears in her eyes. Are you the last human?" Gray shook his head gently. "No, but I am the last here." Jorath asked quietly, "Where will you go now?" Gray looked at the empty sky, where the Devourer once was, where the human fleet had burned itself into legend. "I will go where humanity always goes," he said softly, "forward." The light outside slowly faded back to normal. The stars returned. The darkness felt peaceful now, not hungry, not waiting. Gray walked toward the portal that brought him here. When he stepped inside, he paused and looked back at the council. "Remember this day," he said. "The day the galaxy trembled but did not fall." Then he vanished. Far away in a hidden corner of the galaxy, a deep metallic voice spoke inside a dark chamber. "Mission complete. Phase 1 successful. Awaiting humanity's return." Lights flickered. Thousands more human ships, new ones, awoke from silent hibernation. Humanity was not gone. humanity had only just begun.